And Vlogmas continues. I'm still playing catch up, guys. Bear with me. But you know what? Let's go learn something. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a minute, but I am still trying to get caught up. Today it's Vlogmas Day 10, but advent of Cyber Day number 9. One thing that I'm learning is editing videos is really time consuming, and I need to be a little more concise with everything that I say, possibly even try scripting, but I'm trying to have it so it sounds more natural than me scripting something or having it sound scripted, which is kind of like what I was doing, just reading line by line the whole lesson. So I'm going to go ahead and try to avoid that. Now, before we move along with everything else, we got to take care of some other stuff first. First, question of the day. The question of the day today is going to be, do you have a YouTube channel yourself? And if you do, what is your YouTube channel? And leave a comment below with your YouTube channel, maybe even a link, and I'll go ahead and check it out and get you some more traffic and possibly even another subscriber. And also, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps this channel hopefully grow a little bit more, which will let YouTube introduce this channel and this video to other people and hopefully join our community. And also, if you're not part of the community yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as well as the notification bell icon. That way you will be alerted to when I post new content to this channel. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead with Advent of Cyber Day 9. So Advent of Cyber Day 9, we are going to be learning about pivoting. I don't know what pivoting is, or didn't know anyway, but spoiler alert, I've read through the lesson already. I'm still learning about it, but I will spare you the agony of listening to me read word for word, line by line, everything that is on here. Like before, I went ahead and this task actually involves me starting a machine. I've already started it. We've got everything up here. And today we will be learning about what is pivoting, first of all, and also a new tool called Metasploit. And I've heard of Metasploit, but I've never used it before. I've never heard of pivoting either, so this is all new to me. So a couple of questions. What is Metasploit? So in a nutshell, Metasploit is just a tool that's used to gain the initial access to a system. So once you've used all the other tools that we've learned about so far, such as Nmap, and I don't think we've learned about ARP yet, but I've noticed that it mentioned ARP in this lesson. But once you know of other ports that are open, you can then start using Metasploit to exploit anything that could be compromised on that system. Now, once you gain access to that system, it starts a Meterpreter? Yeah, we'll go with Meterpreter. It starts a Meterpreter session, which allows you to actually run commands on the target computer that you just gained access to. You can even issue commands to even upload or download files, which is actually pretty cool. Next is pivoting. What is pivoting? From my understanding and from what I've read so far, pivoting is basically using your compromised computer, the computer that you just compromised, to have it do your bidding. All the commands that you send to this compromised computer are going to be sent out to other targets on that network, any other computers that are on that network that could possibly be compromised. So once you have access to a target computer, you basically have access to the network that that computer is on. So by running the nmap command again, this time it's going through the target computer that you just compromised. You now have access to this computer. If you run an nmap command, it goes from that target computer and into all of the other computers that are connected that computer has a connection to. So let's go ahead and learn about how we use Metasploit and how we go ahead and start pivoting as well. So let's go down to here. So launching the TryHackMe Kali Linux. I do have Kali Linux again on my computer here, but I mean, if TryHackMe has a virtual machine already provided to me, I'll go ahead and use it. We're going to go ahead and click this down arrow on the start attack box and have it use Kali Linux. So what this is going to do is it's going to go ahead and spin up a virtual machine running Kali Linux. And once that is done, I'll be right back. All right, so we're back. That took a little while also. I'm going to have to, again, consider using my own Kali virtual machine. See if we can just use that. But let's go ahead and see what we can do with this implementation. So we're going to go ahead and try running Metasploit on this Kali Linux virtual machine. So as you can see here, it looks like we can open Metasploit with the following command. It's MSF console, so we're going to have to open up a terminal. And let's go ahead and start up Metasploit. MSF console. We'll go ahead and let that do its thing. All right. And that's done. So after MSF console is open, there are multiple commands available. We can use the search, Laravel. These are just examples. Use multi, PHP, ignition, Laravel, debug, RCE. And view the information about the module. So I believe these are going to be modules. After using a Metasploit module, you can view the options, set options, and run the module. Okay. View available options to set. So show options. You can set the target host. Yeah, you can also directly set options from the run command. So I believe this is all just one command right here. That's kind of what it's looking like. Let's go ahead and go through the challenge. And luckily, TryHackMe has provided this walkthrough that we can use so we can figure out how this actually does work. So it looks like after deploying the attached virtual machine, we'll run nmap against the target. So this is our virtual machine, and I spun up another server. This one right here. Actually, you know what? An hour. We can probably do it. So this is the machine that we're trying to hack. Is this one. First thing that we're going to want to do is run nmap against the target. So that way we can try to find out what services are running and what ports might be open. So let's do nmap. Let's see, dash capital T number 4, dash capital A, dash capital P, lowercase n, and then the IP address of the computer we are trying to gain access to. Alright, so right now it's scanning. Alright, the scan was completed. So let's see what we've got here. Not shown, looks like 999. Close TCP ports. We've got one port that's open. It's going to be port 80. It's running at HTTP, so that means it's running a web server. And it's using Apache as the web server. And yeah, so then it looks like we're going to go ahead and try to exploit this open port, which is port 80. Okay, so after loading the web application in our browser, now that we know that this is a web server and port 80 is open, we can go ahead and let me open up a new one right here, new window, and launch Firefox. All right, let's go ahead and visit that that server. So we'll go to HTTP 10.10.10.252.153 on port 80. Okay, so it's got some lorem ipsum. And we want to inspect the network tab. So what you would want to do is just put your cursor anywhere on the page, right click, then hit inspect. Or it looks like you can use a shortcut of Q. Alright, it wants us to check out the network. Alright, let's reload. Checking the network tab, we can see that the server responds with a HTTP set cookie. And where does it say Laravel? Oh, right here, set cookie, Laravel session. Okay. So now we know that this is running Laravel. And now that we know this, application may be vulnerable to a remote code execution exploit, which impacts Laravel applications using debug mode with Laravel versions before 8.4.2, which use Ignite as a developer dependency. We can use Metasploit to verify if the application is vulnerable to this exploit. And we're going to go ahead and use Metasploit. So let's go ahead and start it up. MSF. Oh. It's F console. We'll go ahead and let that run. Alright, now Metasploit is up. Let's go ahead and use... We're going to use the multi PHP ignition Laravel debug RCE. And we should already know this, these exploits from the beginning, I believe. So if you know anything about Laravel, once you find out that they're using Laravel, you start thinking about, well, what sorts of exploits, or what can I exploit from a Laravel service? And that is now what we are trying to figure out. So, alright, so we're using that. Using configured payload, CMD, Unix, reverse bash. Yep. So now let's go ahead and check the remote host. Our host equals 10.10.252.153. Checking component version. Target appears to be vulnerable. Okay. So now we know that is the case. Alright, let's go ahead and try to find out what the IP address is of my machine again. I don't remember. So let's go IP. I believe we can just use IPA. Yep, there you go. We want to use the ETH0 address. So that's going to be this one. 10.10.65.18. Let's copy that. Okay, now that we've confirmed the vulnerability, let's run the module to open a new session. So let's go ahead and run it. So we're gonna run our host equals 10.10.252.153. The listening host, which is this one. We're gonna go ahead and paste that selection. And we're gonna go HTTP client timeout equals 20. Now Metasploit is going ahead and trying to start a new Meterpreter session. Alright, looks like it actually opened up a new command shell, as shown right here. Alright, let's go ahead and type in background. Background session 1. Yes. And sessions. So now we've got the one session. Alright, if you are currently in a session, you can run the background command to go back to the top level Metasploit prompt. To upgrade the most recently opened session to Meterpreter, use the sessions-u-1 command. Metasploit will now show 2 sessions opened, one for the original shell session and one for the new Meterpreter session. So let's go ahead and do that. U-1. Alright, looks like we've got another session going. Meterpreter session 2 is now opened. So if we go ahead and do sessions again, we've got the 2 sessions. So we've got the original one that we were just at, and we just created a new session, but now this is a Meterpreter session. After interacting with the Meterpreter session with sessions-i-1 and exploring the application, we can see there are database credentials available. Okay. So let's go to the Meterpreter session. -i. Well, what's... No, okay. Sessions-i-1. Looks like the -i flag is just means interaction. And now what we are seeing, let's see, we can see there are database credentials available. So it looks like they're using a, here's the app name, so that it's using Laravel. And if you don't know, the .env, that's just these files, which are usually hidden. We know they're hidden because it's got a period in the beginning. The .env file basically contains environment variables for the server. In this case, this server is actually running Laravel in a container. So this is part of a container. So we can see that we've got the database port of 5432. The name of the database is Postgres, username is Postgres, and password is also Postgres. Uh-oh. We have a username and a password. That's not good. For them. We've got it now, so which means we should be able to go ahead and access this server. And I believe that's what we're going to be doing. So we can use Meterpreter to resolve this remote host name to an IP address that we can use for attacking purposes. So let's go ahead and try that. Okay, so first we needed to go ahead and send session number 1 to the background because we want to use Meterpreter to resolve this web service _ database. So let's go ahead and do that. Resolve web server _ database. Undefined method value or nil. Let's try this again. Resolve web service _ database. There you go. I must have had a typo in there somewhere. So now we have the IP address for the database. As this is an internal IP address, it won't be possible to send traffic to it directly. We can instead leverage the network pivoting support within MSF console to reach the inaccessible host. To configure the global routing table in MSF console, ensure you have run the background command from within a Meterpreter session. So we're here. Let's background this. So now we're back Metasploit. And now what we want to do is we want to add a route to this IP address right here. So let's go ahead and route add 72.28.101.51 /32 -1. And there you go. So that route's added. We can also see, due to the presence of the .docker env file, that we are in a Docker container. By default, Docker chooses a hard-coded IP to represent the host machine. We will also add that to our routing table for later scanning. Oh, actually, so then Docker chooses a hard-coded IP to represent the host machine. Okay, so then Docker, this is a IP address that Docker always uses. So I will go ahead, yeah. All right, I'll go ahead and just add that. Let's add that route. 72.17.0.1 /32-1. All right, so we went ahead and added that route. And let's see what we've got. So route print. There you go. Okay. There are currently no IPv6 routes defined. Correct. With the previously discovered database credentials, which is Postgres username, Postgres password, we can start to run Metasploit modules that target Postgres, starting with a schema dump, followed by running queries to select information out of the database. Okay, so then to dump the schema, we want to use, and these are the different modules again. Auxiliary, scanner, Postgres, Postgres underscore schema dump. Alright, so now that the module is active, let's go ahead and run it. Postgres at 172.28.101.51 /Postgres. All right, went ahead and dumped everything on that Postgres server. Now select information from a specific table. So we're gonna use a different module this time. Auxiliary admin Postgres underscore SQL. And I believe, I mean, the more and more you use Metasploit, the more you will understand what modules are available to you. Postgres, it's at 172.28.101.51 Postgres SQL select I can type star, which means just all from users. Alright, so, oh man, so they've got one user in there and it's Santa, and we've got his password. Oh boy, Santa, Alright, to further pivot through the private network, we can create a SOCKS proxy within Metasploit. Alright, so now we're going to use a different module. Use auxiliary server SOCKS proxy. Alright, so now that that's on, let's run server serve host. It's going to be our local machine, 127.0.0.1. Serve port will be 9050. Version equals 4A. So it's starting the SOCKS server. This will expose a port on the attacker machine. Can be used to run other network tools through, such as curl or proxy chains. Alright, so now from the attacker's host machine, we can use curl with the internal Docker IP to show that the web application is running and the SOCKS proxy works. Alright, so let's see. Curl --proxy SOCKS 4A localhost 9050 HTTP 172.17.0.1. Uh-oh. Let's try this again. Curl --proxy SOCKS 4A localhost 9050 HTTP 172.17.0.1 -v. Okay, yep, it is working. That basically looks like the web page that we were looking at in Firefox. So, alright, so then from the attacker's host machine, we can use proxy chains to scan the compromised host machine for COM ports. So let's try proxy chains. Oh, we're not doing it from there. Let's go back in here. Oops. Let's try that one more time. 72 17.0.1. Alright, there it is. So we've got port 22 is open and port 80 is open. Okay. Excellent. With the host scanned, we can see that port 22 is open on the host machine. It also is possible that Santa has reused his password, and it's possible to SSH into the host machine from the Docker container to grab the flag. Okay, so now let's use a different module. Scanner SSH login, run SSH login. Okay, I must have done something wrong here. I'm gonna go ahead and go back up. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just close this out. Try this again. Alright, everybody. I was actually starting to get really tired and a little frustrated, to be honest with you. but that is just something that should be expected sometimes, and it's not a sign of weakness at all. It means you're learning, and you might need a little more help than other people require to do this particular task. So don't get discouraged. I'm not discouraged. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and watch the video walkthrough of this task and see where I was actually struggling. And struggling, again, it's just a sign of learning, and it's all part of learning. Sometimes you just have to see someone else do it, and all of a sudden, you have a light bulb moment, and you're gonna do just fine from there on out. And that's pretty much where I am right now. So, right now, I gotta get some sleep. Haven't been sleeping well. But that's a mountain to climb another day. Possibly tomorrow. After some sleep, let my brain rest a little bit. So, this is one that actually got me. And I'm not discouraged though. I will get it, I will understand it, and practice makes perfect. If you enjoyed watching me struggle through this, go ahead and hit that like button. No offense. And make sure you go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell icon. It'll let you know when I upload new content to the channel. Till next time, you guys. Good night, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.